Good morning, children. Today we are starting Places of Eminence for grade 7. So let's start. R.T. Banerji was born in Murshidabad district in Bengal in 1885. He completed his bachelor's as well as master's degree in history from Calcutta University and joined the Archaeological Survey of India in 1911. He played a key role in the discovery of the Indus Valley civilization. He was the first to excavate the Mohenjo-daro site. These excavations changed our understanding of Indian history by over 1500 years. He was a pioneer in suggesting similarities between the sites and artifacts found at Harappa and Mohenjo-daro and to suggest that the site was of remote antiquity. So now two important points are R.D. Banerji played a key role in the discovery of Indus Valley civilization and he was the first to excavate the Mohenjo-daro site. Let's come to the second page. How can you find about the past? The time before the present is called past. In history, we study about the events, dates, people and many other things that have happened in the past. History also tells us how the world has transformed and developed over time. So do you see the connection between what people did long ago made a difference to how we live today? There are lots of examples, such as in past manual labor was primary means of production and nowadays various machines are available. Similarly, technology was very simpler and less accessible, and nowadays technology is very advanced, interconnected and accessible. Now next paragraph. The Indian history spans over thousands of years. The remains of history all around us in variety of monumental remains that dot the countryside, in the beautiful sculptures and the art that adorn the monuments, and also in many stories that our grandparents and parents tell us. History can be sourced from a huge body of literature in many languages. Also from the dance, music and other performing arts that originated in the past and we enjoy even today. In fact, it would not be wrong to say that past that in many ways coexist in our present. So children, remains of history are all around us. We have seen monumental remains such as Qutub Minar, Taj Mahal and many more, and other beautiful sculptures and many stories from our grandparents and parents. So history can be sourced from a huge body of literature in many languages, such as from dance, music and other performing arts. And we are enjoying today also. So past coexist in our present. So come to the next paragraph. Such remains of the past are not just found in big cities such as Delhi, Agra or Jaipur. Places of historical significance that speaks to us and make us aware of our rich past are everywhere. We can learn to recognize them and treasure them as part of our heritage. But how do we get to recognize them and understand their importance? You can get information about the past from different sources. Analyzing sources. What are the sources? Where can we find them? Sources are clues that help in reconstructing or putting together the past. These are writings. So first is literary sources. What are literary sources? In this, books, newspapers, letters, journals, diaries written by people in the past. Many clues to the past may be found in written records. Written records such as manuscripts. For example, Arthashastra manuscript. This is one example. There are many other examples also. And books left behind our ancestors. So these are called literary sources. So what are literary sources? They are written by people in the past, in the form of manuscripts, in the form of stories, in the form of books. Let's come to the second one, that is archaeological sources. In this, other clues can be found in the material remains of people who lived long ago. They usually recovered by archaeologists. For example, monuments, inscriptions, coins, etc. Next one, oral histories. Sometimes we get to know about people, places, traditions through stories, poems, songs, myths, and the legends that people pass on orally from one generation to the next. Such orally transmitted information is referred to as oral sources. So, oral history known as oral sources. So, in this, information transmitted from one generation to the next in the form of stories, poems, songs, myths, legends. For example, we listened many stories from our grandparents. So that stories, poems, all orally transferred information from one generation to the next, known as oral sources. So types of sources: literary sources, archaeological sources, oral history, that means oral sources. Now some important points: the Arthashastra manuscript from the Oriental Research Institute, which was found in 1905. Now oral sources such as the Vedas are ancient religious texts of the Vedic people, primarily consisting of four main texts: Rig Ved, Yajurved, Samved and Earthved. They were initially composed orally by rishis between 1500 to 600 BCE and contain information about religious practices. These texts are a collection of poems, hymns and short composition originally transmitted orally. Now, archaeological sources in which material remains of people who lived in the past, such as monuments, inscriptions, coins, jewelry. So, what are inscriptions? Inscriptions are words that are written on something. Inscriptions are writings engraved on a variety of surfaces that contain information about kings, dynasties, events, and about religious, economic, social and cultural practices as well. Monuments includes palaces, forts, temples, structures, buildings. Coins are currency that were issued by kings and could be made of silver, gold, copper. Coins tell us about the economic condition of the period when they were used, help us fix the dates of dynasties and kings, and provide information on religious culture practices of the people who issued them, such as punch-marked coin of the Nanda dynasty of Magda. The 5 symbols on the coin are sun symbol, sixth armed symbol, bull on hilltop, Indradhwaja flanked by elephant. Now children, we can see in the picture also gold coins of Chandragupta, Gupta Empire. Let's come to next page. Identifying eminent places in the villages or towns. In this chapter, let us try and understand how can identify nearby places of historical importance from the experiences of two young people. Sarita Kumari, a student of class 6 who lives in the town of Bandiki in Rajasthan, and Subhendu, a student of class 9 who lives in the city of Bishnupur in West Bengal. Let us read their stories. The Chand Baori of Abhaneri and Harshat Mata Temple. Hello, I am Sarita. I live in the small town of Bandiki with my parents, brother and grandparents. One day we were watching an old Hindi movie called Paheli when I was struck by the beauty of a structure shown in the movie. It appeared to be a pond or tank-like structure with perfectly symmetrical steps leading down to the water. Upon asking my mother, I was told that it was a Bav or Baori, Rani Hadi ki Bav, located in Gujarat. In other words, it was a stepwell. Seeing my excitement, my grandmother intervened and asked my mother to take me to Abhaneri, a small village just 5 kilometers away from our house. In Abhaneri, she said, there is a famous stepwell or Baori. I could not contain my excitement and immediately wanted to know more. My grandmother sat down to tell me the story of Chand Baori. Chand Baori at Abhaneri is one of the deepest and largest stepwells of India. As per her story, it was constructed more than 1200 years ago by a king named Raja Chandra. It was right in front of the temple dedicated to goddess Harshat Mata. Grandmother told me that the temple was also constructed by Raja Chandra but was destroyed by Mahmud of Ghazni during one of his raids. But sometime in the 18th century, the Mughals repaired and renovated the Baori and the temple. Grandmother told me that the ancient name of Abhaneri was Abhanagari, after the Abha or aura of the goddess Harshat Mata, who was full of joy and happiness. My grandmother had heard that Abhaneri was connected to the town of Dausa by a tunnel. I immediately wanted to look for the tunnel. It got even better when my grandmother told me about a legend according to which Raja Chandra was upset by the suffering of his people, who faced an acute water shortage due to drought. He resolved to build a Baori, and the legend has it that the Baori was constructed overnight. This was so exciting. I wanted to immediately visit the Chand Baori at Abhaneri, so we went there the following weekend. After offering prayers to the Harshat Mata temple, we went to the Chand Baori, located a few steps away. The splendor and beauty of the largest and steepest stepwell in India left me speechless. Now, archaeological remains of Chand Baori. From the remains, the Baori appears to be a square structure in the form of an inverted pyramid. It has 13 stories, and the path to the greenish water at the bottom tank is lined with 3,500 narrow steps. The steps form a diamond-like pattern as they cascade down. There is a massive tank at the bottom. The fourth side of the Baori is different and very interesting. This site houses several corridors and multi-storied pavilions. The top pavilion has several jharokas and galleries to look down on the well. They have two images also of Ganesha and Durga. Jharokas are supported by carved pillars. Image of Lord Vishnu resting on serpent is also there. None of these images can be seen now as access to the Baori has been closed by the Archaeological Survey of India, which took over the site in 1955. The entire complex is surrounded by covered corridors with curved arches and is enclosed in a boundary wall. From the arches that are present, it appears as though the Chand Baori was constructed in two phases, once under the Chauhan ruler and then renovated, repaired and added upon sometime in the 18th century under the Mughals. With the decline of Mughals, Abhaneri and the region passed under the Maratha control. Subsequently, the Jaipur state record revealed that Abhaneri was a part of the Jaipur state till 1947. Now, archaeological remains at the Harshat Mata temple. Broken amlaka, that is disc-like crown of a temple. Pieces lying around tell us that the temple originally had a shikara topped by an amlaka and that the shikara was destroyed. The current dome on the top of the temple indicates that the temple was repaired later, probably during Mughal rule. Several scriptures have been found lying around the Harshat Mata temple. They indicate that this was an important center of worship for Hindus. There are images of Ganesha, Shiva and Durga. Such remains testify to the antiquity of Abhaneri and its two monuments. The current idol of Harshat Mata appears to be fairly modern. This could mean that the original idol of Harshat Mata may have been destroyed and that the current one is later replacement. A Jain Tirthankara statue is located near the entrance of the Harshat Mata temple and several Jain artifacts have been found. This corroborates evidence from the Jain text called Patavalis that speak of many Jain temples having been constructed at Abhaneri by rich merchants. Surprisingly, there are no inscriptions that refer to the Chand Baori or Harshat Mata temple and none have been found at the site. Next, other than oral sources for the history of Abhaneri, there are literary sources as well. The Jain Patavalis speak of Abhaneri being a center of Jainism. Late medieval Gujarati texts refer to Harshat Mata as her Siddhi Mata and worship her. Sanskrit Shilpa Shastra talk of the carvings on the wall and call them Vapi or Vapika. The Chand Baori appears to have followed the norms set by the Shilpa Shastra. James Todd in his Annals and Antiquities of Rajasthan spoke of Abhaneri and that it boasts of remote antiquity. Todd apparently met a local storyteller who spoke of Raja Chandra of Abhaneri and his rivalry with Raja Sursen of Indrapuri. Telling stories through terracotta tiles, the red brick temples of Bishnupur. Hello, I'm Subhendu. I live in the city of Bishnupur with my two elder sisters, my parents and my grandfather. Bishnupur location. Bishnupur is located about 140 kilometers away from Kolkata in the state of West Bengal. We worship Lord Vishnu in his form of Krishna. This form of Krishna worship includes ritual celebrations and performance of music and dance. So children, now in this picture, Subhendu, he lives in Bishnupur. He is telling us a story. So let's read his story. Since childhood, I have participated in rituals held at the nearby Madan Mohan temple during Holi and Krishna Janmashtami. Sometimes I have sung kirtans, devotional songs. I grew up listening to the stories of Lord Krishna and his exploits, as well as stories from Ramayana, Mahabharata and Vishnu Purana, all narrated by my grandfather and the old priest of Madan Mohan temple. So narrated by grandfather, that means this is oral sources which are transmitted from one generation to the next. It is from them that I learnt about the beautiful red brick temple, which is more than 300 years old, and other similar temples. The founding of the city of Bishnupur, the Malla kings, and Mallabam, or land of Malla kings. I understood why my city is steeped in history. One can see the remains of fortification, lakes, tanks excavated by the Malla kings for water and defense, and exquisite red brick temples with intricate terracotta tiles depicting stories. Bishnupur is a city where the past and the present coexist harmoniously. Now, the Madan Mohan Temple. Madan Mohan Temple is an active temple constructed by King Durjana Singh Dev in 1694. It houses the image of Madan Mohan and is devoted to the worship of Radha Krishna. It is a square building with a carved roof and a single shikara tower. Therefore, it is in the Ekaratna style. It has carved chronicles and carvings on the walls and tiles. It is built of burnt bricks and is placed on the laterite block platform. Parts of the temple have been reconstructed following the earthquake in 1820. The tiles depict stories of Krishna, Leela and the Ramayana. Two large pillars near the entrance tell us about the battle between Hanuman and Ravana in Lanka. While the Madan Mohan temple is relatively new, there are several other older brick temples that are visible today. Almost all the temples of Bishnupur were constructed by the Malla kings. They were built across 700 years between 10th and 17th centuries. While most of the temples were dedicated to Lord Vishnu in his various forms, which is why the city is called Bishnupur after Vishnu. Some of the earliest temples were dedicated to goddess Durga. Unlike many North Indian temples, these temples were built of burnt bricks and decorated with terracotta tiles due to the unavailability of stone in this region. This extensive use of terracotta is testimony to the skills of local temple builders and artisans. Many of their descendants live in the nearby villages, proudly tell stories about their ancestors' remarkable skills. Sources of history. Oral sources. Bishnupur. In Bishnupur and the surrounding region, everyone has an interesting story to tell. One of the most popular stories pertains to the foundation of the Malla Raj. It is said that in 695 CE, that means 695 the Common Era, a Rajputra prince was travelling to the Jagannath temple in Puri with his pregnant wife. However, at a forest near Logram, The wife went into labor. The prince abandoned his wife in the forest as he had to reach the temple at a particular time. Next morning, the child was found by a woman who had gone to collect firewood, and she raised him. By the age of 15, the boy was unmatched in wrestling. He was given the name Adi Malla, unique or original Malla, and he ultimately founded the Malla dynasty, which ruled the Bankura region for the next 1,000 years. The kingdom came to be called Mallabam, or land of wrestlers. Local priests talk of the foundation of Bishnupur and the role of Bir Hambir, the Malla king. It is said that Jiva Goswami, the Vaishnava Acharya of Vrindavan, sent Acharya Srinivas and his disciple with the Bhagavad Gita and other religious texts to Bengal to re-establish Vaishnavism, which was in danger of declining. Bir Hambir, misinformed by some that Acharya was carrying precious objects, robbed him at night. To retrieve the text, Acharya Srinivas went to Bir Hambir's court and managed to impress him. Bir Hambir converted to Vaishnavism and established the worship of Vishnu as Krishna, Madan Mohan, Sham Rai or Keshtu Rai. To provide space for festivals and celebration, the exquisite temples such as Madan Mohan were built. The above oral stories tell us about the foundation of the Malla dynasty, the kings and their conversion to Vaishnavism, and the temples built by them. Literary sources. Literary texts sometimes collaborate local oral traditions. The texts such as Bhakti Ratnakar of Narhari Chakrabarti and the Prem Vilasa by Nityananda Das talk about Bir Hambir and his tussle with Acharya Srinivas and the establishment of Krishna worship in Bishnupur. The Bengal District Gazetteer of the Bankura district of 1908, written by O. Male, discussed the possible links of Malla kings to the Mal tribe of the region. The actual remains of the temples emphasize and delineate the unusual structures and beauty of the temple and the uniqueness of medieval Bengali architecture. Thus, the brick temples of Bishnupur, with their exquisite storytelling in terracotta, certainly form a part of my heritage, which I am happy to live next to. I am sure if you look around where you live, you too would find something old, something beautiful which will hold meaning for you. Why don't you explore and learn something about them? Places of eminence. Answer the following questions in brief. First question: what are the three primary sources for studying history? Answer: the three primary sources for studying history are literary sources, archaeological sources, and oral sources. Literary sources are written materials that provide information about the past events in the form of manuscripts and books by our ancestors. Archaeological sources are the material remains of people who lived long ago and objects from the past that provide evidence about the past lives are usually recovered by archaeologists. Orally transmitted information from one generation to the next in the form of poem, stories, songs is referred to as oral sources. Second question: describe the unique structure and features of Chand Baori of Abhaneri. The Baori appears to be a square structure in the form of an inverted pyramid. It has 13 stories and the path to the greenish water at the bottom tank is lined with 3,500 narrow steps. The steps form a diamond-like pattern as they cascade down. There is a massive tank at the bottom. The fort site houses several corridors and multi-story pavilions. The top pavilion has several jharokas and galleries to look down on the well. Chand Baori is one of the deepest and largest stepwells in the world. Third question: what is the importance of terracotta tiles in the temples of Bishnupur and why were they used extensively? Answer: terracotta tiles plays an important role in the temples of Bishnupur as they provide a unique architectural style Almost all the temples of Bishnupur were constructed by the Malla kings. They were built across 700 years between the 10th and 17th centuries. These temples were built of burnt bricks and decorated with terracotta tiles. Due to the unavailability of stone in this region, these tiles were used to decorate temple walls with unique artwork. This extensive use of terracotta is testimony to the skills of local temple builders and artisans. Question number 4. According to a legend, how did the Malla dynasty in Bishnupur come into existence? Answer. According to a legend, the Malla dynasty in Bishnupur originated with a Rajputra prince who abandoned his pregnant wife in forest while traveling to Jagannath temple in Puri, as he had to reach the temple at a particular time. The child was found by a woman who had gone to collect firewood, and she raised him, and he was given the name Adi Malla, and he founded the Malla dynasty, which ruled the Bankura region for the next 1000 years. The kingdom came to be called Mallabam. Question number 5. Why are literary sources such as Bhakti Ratnakar and Prem Vilasa valuable for understanding the history of Bishnupur and its temples? Answer. The Bhakti Ratnakar by Narhari Chakrabarti and Prem Vilasa by Nityananda Das are valuable for understanding the history of Bishnupur and its temples because they provide insights into the religious and cultural practices of the time. The texts talk about Bir Hambir and his tussle with Acharya Srinivas and the establishment of Krishna worship in Bishnupur, particularly the conversion of Malla kings to Vaishnavism, and offer insight into the spread of Krishna worship in the region. Now, next is answer the following questions in detail. Now, first question is, what do you understand by past? Why do we study history? What are the different sources used to study history? Explain with the help of examples. Answer. The time before the present is called past. We study history to know about the events, dates, people, and many other things that have happened in the past and how the world has transformed and developed over time. The different sources used to study history are literary sources, archaeological sources, and oral sources. So first is literary sources are written materials that provide information about past events, cultures, and individuals in the form of manuscripts and books left behind our ancestors. Examples include texts like the Vedas, the Arthashastra manuscript. Archaeological sources are the material remains of people who lived in the past are usually recovered by archaeologists. Example, monuments such as temples, forts. After this, oral sources, also known as oral history, refer to the information in the form of stories, poems, songs, myths, and legends that people pass on orally from one generation to the next. Example, folk tales. Next question is, compare and contrast the use of literary sources and archaeological sources in studying history. What unique insights do each type of source provide? Answer. Literary sources and archaeological sources are crucial for understanding history. Literary sources are written material that provide information about the past events, cultures, and individuals in the form of manuscripts and books such as religious texts like the Vedas, the Arthashastra, whereas archaeological sources are the material remains of people who lived in the past are usually recovered by archaeologists as inscription, monuments, and coins. Literary sources and archaeological sources both provide unique insight into studying history. Literary sources such as books, poems, Letters offer subjective perspective and personal experiences from individuals who lived during a specific time period. Archaeology helps us understand how people lived, their daily routines, what tools they used, provides insight into the past by examining the material remains of past cultures. These sources include artifacts, buildings, monuments, etc. Question number 3. Share the legend associated with the Chand Baori at Abhaneri. How does the legend contribute to the cultural significance of the site? Chand Baori at Abhaneri is one of the deepest and largest stepwells of India. It was constructed more than 1200 years ago by a king named Raja Chandra, therefore the name Chanda Baori. As per the legend, Raja Chandra was upset by the suffering of his people who faced an acute water shortage due to drought. He resolved to build a Baori, and the legend has it that the Baori was constructed overnight. The ancient name of Abhaneri was Abnagari after the Abha or aura of the goddess Harshat Mata. Baori was right in front of the temple dedicated to goddess Harshat Mata. Several scriptures have been found lying around the Harshat Mata temple, indicating important worship center for Hindus. Next question. Explain the significance of stepwells in India's architectural and historical context. How have they contributed to the preservation of water resources? Answer. Stepwells, also known as Bav or Baori, and also known for their designs and reflect the artistic skills of the time. Ancient stepwells for water storage carved in the earth, where people can reach the water going down a set of steps. They were built to store and access water, especially during dry seasons. Stepwells were used for water conservation and also served as sites for religious ceremonies and rituals. Stepwells significantly contributed to the preservation of water resources by collecting and storing rainwater, replenishing the groundwater, and providing access of water throughout the year. Question number 5. Write the significance of oral sources of Bishnupur in understanding the history of Madan Mohan Temple. Answer. Oral sources plays an important role in understanding the history of Madan Mohan Temple in Bishnupur. These sources include stories, tradition, culture practices that people passed orally from one generation to the next. The Madan Mohan Temple was constructed by Malla King Durjana Singh Dev in 1694. The temple is dedicated to Madan Mohan, a form of Krishna. It is a square building with a carved roof and a single tower. Therefore, it is in the Ekaratna style. It is built of burnt bricks and is placed on the laterite block platform. The terracotta walls of the temple are very beautiful and covered with carvings, statues depicting stories of Krishna Leela and Ramayana. Two large pillars near the entrance tell us about the battle between Hanuman and Ravan in Lanka. So now we are done with all the question and answers. Thank you.